cool. Hey, you guys out there, shut up. Okay, yeah, good. Now I get to, review WWF WrestleMania for that Nintendo Entertainment System. And usually it seems like I start my videos with, okay, now I'm going to talk about whatever the subject is. So this time I think I actually opened it up a little bit different. So let's get down to what this game is. I have to time travel to go back, of course, to even look at the stupid thing. Which I already did. So, I'm back after all that. And so basically this is the whole thing, is that wrestling was a completely different thing back than professional wrestling. Because you could go to school and talk to the kids about it. Now, I didn't do that. I actually was walking to the school and an ice cream truck pulled me over, and you wouldn't believe who was driving. It was Ronald McDonald. That's right. Was Grimace with him? Nope. I asked him why. He said because he can't fit in here. So anyway, as soon as I saw him, I was thinking, well, shoot, I'm kind of hungry, so this is great. So I walk up and I say, yeah, let me get a double burger with cheese, small fries, and Coca-Cola. And you know what he said to me? He said, what the fuck do I look like? McDonald's? So you better get some ice cream or something. So anyway, I ended up asking somebody eventually if they could give me some details, somebody who lived back then, about what wrestling was like. And they told me all about it. It was based on the fact that you had the people who would say it's fake, and they would tell everybody. So they're like, if a little kid's watching it, that stuff's fake, right? They have them in some sort of move. Oh, that looks so fake. You could totally tell it's fake. So that's what they would do. And the little kid believing it. I know, you don't know you don't know it's fake. Okay, and like they think, how can you kick somebody in the head with boots on and it doesn't hurt? Because they don't know how. So, you have the two dividing lines and what it is based upon. Kids used to get excited about this wrestling thing back then. And I don't blame them, because when you have tag teams like Demolition and the Powers of Pain, and for those who know about those tag teams, all you have to do is turn on wrestling and see one of those tag teams. And I actually heard the Powers of Pain sucked after a certain time, but before they were awesome. So I don't know what happened with that, but I do know Demolition was awesome. Somebody else told me that Demolition was awesome and then they sucked. Why would you do that? No idea. And really, how can you say anything about that? Because when I saw Demolition, they were like the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in professional wrestling. They came out with these masks on and the spikes, and they looked very... Well, I'm not scared of them, but if I was a little kid, I could imagine being scared. And I would be happy too, because getting scared is fun. That's why you watch movies like Nightmare on Elm Street when you're a little kid. And you want it to scare you. You want to be scared. It's fun. Otherwise, you wouldn't watch those movies, right? Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If I was a little kid watching that, that's a great movie for a 2-year-old to watch, right? Well, that would be scary. It would be a lot of fun to watch it. Probably the scariest movie I've ever seen is when I time traveled back and I was like a 1-year-old watching The Black Hole, that Disney movie, back in the 80s. If they remade that movie, I don't even want to know about it. They probably did, and I know about it, but I don't know about it because I don't want to know about it. I'm supposed to be talking about the WrestleMania video game. The whole point is that when you get the game and you're that little kid, you're, I'm going to do a pile driver, I'm going to do a suplex, I'm going to do a side slam. All the moves. You've seen Andre the Giant, you're going to do that weird looking elbow drop he does. And you're going to be able to do that punch he does, which you can. And you're going to be like, and he's going to be drooling, he's going to pick somebody up by the face, and all that type of stuff. Actually, I don't think Andre picks him up by the face. I know he chokes him, though. Or maybe he does, maybe smush somebody's face, but I know he drops his butt on top of people. So you get the game and you want to do all that stuff. Well, guess what? You can't do jack shit. You press A, you punch, or something, or B is kick and punch. I don't know. One of them punches, one of them kicks. So you're basically down to there. You're thinking all the moves that you'll probably be able to do, but you won't be able to do. Most of the moves in professional wrestling, and the moves that you can do don't really look like the moves you can do in professional wrestling. So why would you put this game out? Well, basically, you want to make money. So why would you play this game? Because it's the only wrestling game you got your hands on. You have pro wrestling in these other games, and they don't really have the complete feel of professional wrestling. None of these do. So you're actually not playing professional wrestling, you're playing like a fighting game that's based on pro wrestling, professional wrestling. So, the team tournament, you play with your friends, that might be fun for like 20 minutes. Especially if you have the imagination that there's these moves that you just haven't figured out how to do them yet. But once you find out that that's all there is to the video game, then you realize the game sucks. You realize how much that it sucks. So, you play the video game as one of the characters in the game. They have Bam Bam Bigelow, who wasn't in the wrestling league, World Wrestling Federation at this point in time. I think when the game came out, somebody told me, Macho Man Randy Savage, he was in it. He was like, you prima donna, you trying to steal a woman? Yeah, and Hulk Hogan, he was probably the champion again. And you have $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and you have, and let's talk about that. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, he was an awesome character. He had that laugh that I can't imitate, but I wouldn't even try to. Imagine if they tried to do a remake of him, so they could ruin that too. That guy was awesome. Okay, let's see, who else do you have in that video game? You have Andre the Giant, who does the best interviews. And I'll you, Jake, and that Jake and that Snake, and that Andre the Giant, he'll basically beat somebody with one move. Like, he could pick somebody up in a weird way, fall down on him, and it's over, because that's all he needs. He doesn't even need to barely even break a sweat, but he sure does. He breaks more of a sweat on his way to the ring when he's wearing his normal clothes. That guy looks like that he was walking through a drive-through car wash. And there's just the sweat coming off him. But how can you blame him? The guy is 7'4" or something like that, 520 pounds or something like that. And he is a big, giant guy who kicks in this game and jumps around like he can't do in real life. If it was real life with him, and you're pressing the control, he would barely even move. But in the wrestling, it worked in the TV show because how they did everything was very high level of excellence at the time. There's no Sean Mooney in this video game, unfortunately. We would love to see him, just to see his face. They probably have a stupid game to go along with that face. So even if they showed him, when they finally get around to putting him in, it'll probably be in one of those other wrestling games that came out after this, which sucked too. They all sucked. So anyway, Vince McMahon, Gorilla Monsoon, can't really put them in the game at this point. No Bobby the Brain Heenan, no Jake the Snake Roberts and his pet snake, Damien the Python. But you do have in this video game the Honky Tonk Man. And the weird thing is there's this crap flying around at the top of the screen. Crap's not a very nice word to say. You get these little bonuses. No, icons of magic power. This must simulate something. Some sort of magic that occurs in the world of professional wrestling. The same magic that Dr. D probably felt when he slapped that guy from 2020. It'd be great to have Dr. D in this game. That guy was very good at interviews. He was actually good at it. I mean, it was fun to watch him wrestle. He used to be very intense. Very good at playing his character, a lot like Denzel Washington in Training Day. The only good part about that movie, you know, I can't believe that when the guy came back to get him, that he actually said again, "You passed the test. You made it. You're gonna make detective." Like, come on, you really, like, maybe I'll fall for it, maybe. Okay, anyway, so let's get back to this video game. I have a tendency to just talk about something else. If you haven't noticed, no referee in the ring. He just got out of there. He's like, these guys aren't doing wrestling moves. I don't know what they're doing. I'm out of this thing. Get me out of this game. The arena it's in a dark arena, like in the middle of outer space. And Hulk Hogan, he does a drop kick, which he never does in real life. Like, have to just get the moves that they do or make something. See, that's what you do with an 8-bit game. At least if you can't do it, don't try it. Just do the moves that they try your best to make it look like the moves that they can do. You know? Actually watch the damn thing before you make a game, but they didn't care. Just ship out this game. This looks like a piece of trash, you know? Stone Cold Steve Austin. You piece of trash. They made this game probably as another wrestling game, and then they threw all that crap into it, and there they shipped it out. And crap's not a very nice word to say. What else am I going to use to describe WrestleMania? What word would you use to describe WrestleMania, the video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System? So if you had one word to describe it, which word would you use? I would call it a waste. This was a wasted opportunity. You had the chance to put demolition in the game. They probably would have had him wrestling with their spikes on, though, or something stupid like that, because Macho Man can't even take his glasses off. You get on the top rope, you do a stupid move that they don't even do. So if you want to play a good wrestling game, I recommend the Superstars Wrestling Arcade game, which came out in 1989. And as for, hey, that's the same year this stupid game came out. You play this for 2 months, and then in the arcade you get actually a better game, but still 2 minutes limitation and moves. And then you might say, well, that's good. It was good for that. Yeah, it's good for that time. But they didn't really have like a wrestling simulation if you wanted to play like interfering matches and be like real professional wrestling, you know? Half the fun is watching them talk on the microphone or when they have these feuds develop, like when Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik were walking. One was walking from the ring, the Iron Sheik, and Sergeant Slaughter was in his way, and, oh no, what's going on here? Oh, Sergeant Slaughter wants to earn his respect. Ooh, Sergeant Slaughter is a patriot for America. The Iron Sheik is, and him, they probably were friends, and now they're just falling out between her. Freddie Blast, get out of here, you pencil neck geek. Okay, let's get back to this game. This game sucks. But a lot of people probably bought it because it was the only World Wrestling Federation game that they could get. There's probably another game, but it was like on computers or something. And you can forget about Atari. So, it's basically all there is to say about this game, I guess. You can't throw each other into the ropes. You can fly off them yourself and do jump kicks. This is like the lowest form of Street Fighter. This is like the worst form of Street Fighter, probably. And the ring and all that just happens to be drawn around them, and you try and get these power-ups, I guess, and they don't really help either until you learn to pin somebody. You just run around and you pin them after. And why does it have to be over in 2 minutes? Okay, if people don't have the patience to play a wrestling game, but it's gonna be stupid to beat somebody in 1 minute every time. I mean, what's the point of that? I don't know. Let me just get these people who have no patience to play video games and just hurry up so they can beat the guy already. No double disqualifications, no using foreign objects, no throwing guys through a table, but they didn't really do that as much back then, but if they did, it would have been bigger than when they did it like every week. See, imagine if that would have happened back then. That's why you do things in moderation, but they didn't do it in moderation after a while. They just said, this is what people want to see. You know, so, but then that takes away from it. It becomes too commonplace, so. And that's like, wrestling now is like the DVD commentary of what it used to be. That's all it is, it's like DVD commentary. It's like the guys talking about stuff that they didn't time it correct, but they did enough for him to become a billionaire. So from his standpoint, great. For professional wrestling, I don't think it improved at all. I think it's like it went... It did the opposite of improve.
Okay, listen up. You better balance
Yeah,
yourself.
okay,
That
whatever.
Macho Man
Bad News Brown
Savage
was a great guy back then, but he's not in this video game.
It's
Been fun to use him and do his ghetto blaster. He's not in this video game, though. So, who else is in this video game? Well, I really don't remember. At this point, I think I named everybody. So if you want to play this game as a Honky Tonk Man versus a Honky Tonk Man, you can pretend one's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat just so you have the other guys in this game. But why would you want to anyway? Because all you're going to do is try and turn around to face the other person, because that's what you spend a lot of time doing, and you're trying to make it so that the hit detection works, because you got to get close enough to throw these awkward looking punches or these stupid kicks with the guys flying around the ring, missing each other half the time. That would be a great match to watch. Imagine that in real life, what it would look like. You'd probably be like, what the hell is wrong with these guys? The announcer would probably say, what are they on? You know, but at least Jesse the Body Ventura would cover it up, because that's what he was great at. If there was any mistakes or any problems, you just leave it to him, and he'll cover it up. He'll make it. And he has a way of
First
just
of all,
doing
they
it.
almost
That is
either of them
just
almost
so
wrestled.
effortless.
Came out
That
to
guy was
wrestle
like the
today.
MVP
If
of
you
the
knew
World
anything
Wrestling
about being a
Federation from
wrestler, you would
1985
know.
to 19.
But since you've never wrestled,
when they
you
really
don't know
let him,
anything
you
about
know, like
it.
87 through 1990, and then when he left, I mean, that was your most valuable player. So they should have kept him around for a lot longer. But it doesn't really matter anyway, because whatever legacy they have, it doesn't. It's kind of like you just joke around with it now, and they have a Hall of Fame, and that's not a very serious thing anyway. I mean, it is for the guys who are wrestlers, but it's not like the NFL Hall of Fame or anything, because there's really no rules to it. You just put in whoever you want, whenever. I don't know. Doesn't seem like wrestling is the same thing, because it was more professional at that point. Like, it was more, it was kind of like he copied how boxing was at the time, because, you know, like, he really wanted to do things like how boxing was, and have the shows, and try and make it more like a sports presentation, which worked. It was great. He should have kept doing it that way. Then he started getting silly with it. He was like, why isn't anyone watching these shows? Because you got Doink the Clown. Oh, his arm came off, says the announcer. Yeah. And you get nails, and you're wondering why people are laughing at it and not watching anymore. Because there's only a certain amount of comedy that's you use for this. It's not supposed to be that funny. You know, you want people to laugh with it, not laugh at it. And you may say, well, people were laughing at it before. No, you did a fine job, because people used to actually like it a lot more. And then you get down to like 92, and it starts to become more and more silly. And why would you get rid of these great tag teams like Demolition anyway? Well, you say they can't wrestle forever. Replace them! Replace them with the next Demolition. Somebody just like them. If you got something awesome, you have to do something better to replace them. But you can't leave nothing to fill that void. And no, the stuff you used Men on a Mission did not fill that void. So you're wondering why you have half the arena is empty seats. Well, maybe it's because of the guys who are actually wrestling nobody gives a shit about, and because you ruined what you had before, because it was actually very entertaining. That's more about wrestling than the stupid wrestling game. But why would I want to talk about that? It's like one of the worst games on the Nintendo Entertainment System. People only bought it because it was a WWF game. Yeah, and it's Hulk Hogan on the cover, too. How many times do we need to see him? You have a lot of other wrestlers. Why do we always have to see him? Because he's the main guy? Well, why not put Macho Man Randy Savage on the cover? If you want to sell a whole bunch of those, just put Elizabeth on the cover.